Hi everyone and welcome to the Simple Knit podcast. My name is Elina and you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Simple Knit Co. This is my little corner of the internet where I talk about all the things that I'm making, which is mostly just knitting. But thank you so much for coming and sharing this very fun hobby with me. If this is your first time checking out the podcast, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy. And a big hello and thank you to all my returning viewers for coming back week after week. It feels like it's been a hot sec since I've sat down to record an episode, but I haven't had a whole lot of like free knitting time. It's been kind of a bit of a bananas month and I've been out of town a bit. So yeah, I haven't had a whole lot to talk about, but I feel like I've got some really exciting things to share with you today. I've got my coffee, so pour yourself whatever you want, take a seat, get cozy. It's the middle of winter in Brisbane, but it's actually quite warm today. Probably have overdressed in this cardigan, but so if I get a little bit flustered, it's just because I'm a bit sweaty. But it is a very exciting finished object, so I'm really psyched to share it with you. And I think I'll just roll straight in. So if you are a returning viewer, you will recognize this from the last couple of episodes, but this is my Flaum cardigan. This is a pattern from a back issue of Amirisu magazine. It's the Flaum cardigan by Justina Lokowska, who is Letters Knits on Instagram. And it's a pretty popular pattern. A whole bunch of people have made these and it's really clear why, because it is just really, really cool. So it's just like an open front, pretty loose fitting cardigan with chiz made out of regular rib, and then on the body here this really amazing super squishy fisherman's rib. Now I say this is a finished object. I haven't sewn down the sides of my pockets. It does have little pockets on the front and I just did a contrasting black lining on my pockets just for fun, and I haven't sewn those down yet, so I can't put anything in them, but I really wanted to wear it for the podcast today. So I knit the size large, and looking at the fit, as you can see, it's got quite a lot of extra fabric. This fisherman's rib is really kind of voluminous and squishy. I maybe could have gotten away with knitting the size smaller, but I'm really happy with how it fits. If I just sit myself up a little bit, you might be able to see a little bit better. So the front is actually a little bit shorter than I expected. It comes, I haven't blocked it, so it might get a bit longer, but the front kind of comes about to my belly button at the moment, and then it does get a little bit, there are some short rows, so it does get a little bit longer in the back. So I knit this out of this amazing yarn from Great Ocean Road Woolen Mills. It's a 50-50 merino alpaca blend. I think it's their La Bella salt and pepper yarn, and it's really lovely, but these skeins are pretty inconsistent. It's got a very minimally processed undyed yarn. I think I spoke last time that there were like some little sections that had just like chunks of roving in it, which was, some of it you could kind of work in and you get like little blips of white, and some of it you just had to kind of cut out and splice it together. But it's really lovely. I love that kind of unprocessed, very kind of cozy feel. It's super soft, super squishy. But yeah, the skeins, even though I got them all from the same batch, are pretty inconsistent. So it actually looks more obvious on camera than it does in real life. But we've got this little dark band here, and along the bottom, which I actually think is less obvious on camera, there's like almost like a little, it almost looks like it's been color blocked, because the last skein that I was using was significantly lighter than all the others, and I didn't realize until I was there. And had I kept, I did alternate skeins for most of the body, but for that bit, if I would have been doing that, it just would have been stripy. So I decided to just color block instead, and I'm actually super happy with the results. I did go up a couple of needle sizes for this. I think it's recommended to knit most of the body on a 4.5mm needle, and I went up to a 5.5, and I pretty much got gauge, I think. but I knit it on a 5.5mm needle. I'm really happy with the fabric that got, and I am a very tight knitter, so that's not unusual for me. But yeah, the only other modification I made was I did add, probably in the end, about 5 centimeters to the sleeves. In the pattern pictures, they're kind of about, I think, supposed to be kind of more like a 3/4 length croppy sleeve, but because this was going to be quite a warm cardigan, I wanted to make the most of it, and I had enough yarn left to do full length sleeves. So yeah, I think I added an extra round of decreases, so I just did another of the decrease rounds, and then I just kind of kept knitting until it was the length that I wanted. And yeah, I'm really happy with this. I love the way it looks. I'm thinking it might get a little bit, I'm going to try and get it to get a little bit more length at the front when I block it, but it sits really nicely. The ribbed collar just sits really nice and flat and flows into the fisherman's rib really nicely. So it just kind of sits and hangs really well. It's a really good color. It does have some inconsistencies that could annoy me, but I think it's just part of the charm of working with this kind of yarn. It is really lovely. I think I've got less than half a skein left, but across like 4 or 5 little balls. So, because I weighed it out, and I do have kind of less than 50 grams of yarn left over. Ooh, in this little yarn party here, but oh, not you, buddy. There we go. So yeah, this is kind of my, oh, why did I think this was a good idea? So these are my little leftovers. One thing that I have said before about this yarn and most of the Great Ocean Road Wool and Mill yarns is because they are very minimally processed, there's a lot of grass in the yarn that you kind of have to pull out. So I hand wind my skeins, so I managed to get a vast majority of it out as I'm winding them, but you do find yourself picking out little bits of grass here and there as you're knitting. If that's something that's going to bother you, something to keep in mind. As I've said, I really don't mind, because the payoff is you get this gorgeous, soft, very natural yarn that I love. And so this is the leftovers, and this is kind of what it looks like balled up. So I have, yeah, just shy of 50 grams left, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. Might put it in like a little color blocked hat or something, but yeah, I'm just super happy with this project. It was, it did take, it's kind of the only thing I've been knitting on for quite a while, so I think, yeah, and it's just very bulky and heavy. And when it got kind of towards the end and I was like traveling a little bit and going around and doing stuff, it's not a portable project at all. I guess you could like knit the sleeves separately and then graft them on if you wanted to be able to take it around, but it is a big heavy project, which in the cold winter nights has been really nice, because it's been like having a little blanket sitting on my lap as I work on it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say. I love the yarn. The pattern's really good, really easy to follow. Yeah, I actually was worried I was going to run out of yarn, but I think I managed it pretty well. And probably I could have added a little bit of extra length to the body had I known, but I wasn't sure how much I was going to have left. So yeah, like it, good yarn. Just talked about the needle size. And some people, when they've knit this, especially I know in the last few episodes of Jillian of Good Witch Knits podcast, she said this knitting this pattern has kind of given her carpal tunnel, because it is a very like heavy, thick pattern, and I did find my wrist getting a bit tired as well. So I don't know if that's to do with the fisherman's rib or just like the sheer weight of the project. Even having it on like a circular needle, you're still having there's just a lot of mass that you're moving around. So if you have wrist issues, it may not be the pattern for you, but it is so gorgeous, and it is so warm, very warm. I'm a little bit sweaty, but I'm going to block it, so that'll be fine. Just block my sweat out of it. But it's really gorgeous. If you've thought about knitting it, I highly recommend it. I believe that the sample is knit in Quince & Company Owl, which is also a 50-50 merino alpaca blend, so it would have a very similar effect, I believe, to this yarn, which is just, it's so soft and it's so squishy and so cozy, but it still looks quite, I think the structure of it and the shape of it, it still looks quite polished and structured, so even though you are wearing a blanket, you don't quite feel like you're wearing a blanket. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about my flower. But if you've knit one, let me know. If you're thinking about knitting one, go ahead and knit one. So the other finished object that I have, and the only other project I'm going to talk about today very quickly is, I spoke about this last time as well. This is just the Roku hat that I was knitting for my friend that I finished this morning. It's just a grey 1x1 rib hat. Ooh, camera's not happy with me today. The sun just went behind a cloud. Ooh, see if I can get myself a little bit better in color focus. But yeah, here we go. It's just a Roku hat, which is a really great pattern by Olga Jazzy on Instagram, Olga Berea-Kefalion. And I've knit a couple of these before, and I just knit another one. I knit the largest size, and I believe I did it on the recommended needle size. The amazing yarn that I used is some hand-dyed merino from Fibersmith, a yarn shop in Melbourne. This is the colorway Depth, so I'm not sure if they dye this one anymore. It was an earlier colorway that they dyed, but it's a really beautiful dark grey, but the camera really isn't cooperating with me today. Let's see maybe if I do over this side. No, it's worse. But it's a really lovely yarn. It's the same yarn I knit my quadri hat out of, and it took, the largest size took about 100 grams of worsted weight yarn. This is seriously, I was talking about how soft and squishy this yarn is. This is seriously the softest yarn I've ever worked with. Like, it's just absolutely, I'm not sure which base it is that they source, where they source their merino from at Fibersmith, but it is so unbelievably soft. It has a little bit of a halo, can't really see it. It does have like a little bit of just a halo, but it is just so soft and squishy. I don't know how they do it. I'm not sure if it's actually showing up on camera. It's a little bit pointy. It does need a bit of a, this also needs a block. So a lot of almost finished objects today. But because I had kind of 2 half skeins left, because I did alternate skeins in my quadri hat a little bit, because I thought I was going to run out of yarn. So I had 2 kind of 1 3/4 and 1 less than half skein. I alternated at the bottom and then didn't need to on the top, and it has kind of just the nature of it, it's almost got like an ombre effect, that it's darker at the bottom and lighter at the top, which was completely unintentional, but very nice, but very cute. I'll try it on, but it's way too big for me. I have kind of made it with the thought that you wear it with the brim rolled up, so it is, as you can see, way too big for me, but it will be a perfect fit hopefully for my friend. Just needs a bit of a block before I send it off on its merry way, but the Roku hat is a really great 1x1 ribbed hat pattern. I've made it in everything from 8-ply to 12-ply yarn, and it's worked. You can just kind of vary which size you, there's 3 sizes in the pattern, so you can just vary the stitch count you start with, but it's a really great pattern. The crown decreases are really nice. When I make it, the only modification that I make is, instead of just doing a regular hat bind off where you just pull the yarn through, I do a Kitchener stitch across the top. I just think it finishes it off a little bit more nicely. If you're putting a pom-pom on, it doesn't really matter, but if you're not putting, I usually don't put pom-poms on this hat, so I think it just looks better completely finished without that little hole. So yeah, that's all there is. A Roku hat. I will knit more of these because it's just a really good basic pattern, very easy. Beautiful tubular cast on. I think this is actually the best tubular cast on I've ever done. Very professional, very happy with it. So yeah, Roku, one of my favorite hat patterns. This will be going off to keep someone's head very warm soon. And I have actually about not very much of this yarn left either. It's kind of what it looks like balled up. So I could even, I reckon, use these two together to do like a colour blocked Roku or something, just to use up my scraps. Because otherwise, what do you do with this much worsted weight yarn? You really can't make anything out of that. But yes, so those are the two projects that I have finished recently. My other works in progress really aren't looking any different to they were when the last time you saw them. I've made progress on them, but they're not looking really any different, so it would not be very exciting. But that's my void shawl and my stripy socks. But yeah, they both kind of look exactly the same as they did the last time you saw them, so you don't need to see those. I do have one, now that I've cast off a big old garment, I have going to reward myself by casting on another one that I've been looking forward to knitting for a while. So this is from issue 17 of Amirisu, so last year's winter issue, which was the big pink one. So many lovely patterns in this issue as well, but the one I'm looking forward to casting on next is Loomy by Fiona Alice. I love Fiona's patterns. Can you see that? I love Fiona's patterns. She designed the lady slipper top, a bunch of other ones. Let's see if I can get that a bit better. This isn't helpful to you. I'll link it down below so you can actually look at pictures properly. But it's this really cool, super boxy, oversized, kind of capey jumper thing with little like cable details across the front that almost gives it like a smocky effect. And it's knit in like a bulky weight yarn. I think it's like the samples in Woolfolk. I think, let me have a look. Yep. Yeah, Woolfolk Luft, which is a merino cotton bulky weight. That is very expensive. So I have my yarn to cast this one on. I've bought this yarn from Knit Picks, which is called their Wonder Fluff, which is an alpaca, merino, and I think a little bit of nylon bulky weight yarn. Yep, mostly alpaca, but they have this gorgeous color. This is, see if I can get it. Oh, that's pretty. That's pretty accurate. But my face does look very ghostly. So this color is called Lynx Heather. It's really amazingly fluffy and soft. It's a nice bulky weight yarn. So that's what I'm going to be casting on next. I'm probably going to swatch for that today. I mean, I really want to finish my bloody void shawl, but it's just so boring. I love having shawls, but just knitting them is so boring. I'm looking at it. It's sitting just there, taunting me. So maybe what I'll do is I'll do a couple of repeats of that this afternoon, and as a reward let myself cast on, because I really would love to have this jumper to wear maybe sometime this year, because we have another couple of months of winter, of cold weather. So yes, that is what I will be casting on next. So keep your eyes peeled in the next episode for that one. I do have a couple of other little things to talk to you about before I head off for today. The first one is another crafty thing. So a couple of weeks ago there was a Stitches and Craft show here in Brisbane, and my friend and I went to check it out and just see what was going on. It is always kind of more focused on like quilting and stuff. So there was a few places selling yarn. I didn't buy anything. I did try to buy some hand spun from someone. It had a price on it, and I was like, can I buy this? And they're like, no. It had like a ball band with a price on it, and it was this gorgeous like orangey hand spun. It was so lovely, and they wouldn't let me buy it. So that was a bit embarrassing, but there were a few places selling yarn, but there wasn't really anything that I wanted. But I did stop by a shop that was selling, sorry for that crinkling, that was selling sashiko projects. So I got a couple of little sashiko samplers. So this one is like this mustardy color that will have like a chevron-y effect on it. And then I've got this little one, another little sampler, that has kind of almost, they look like succulents or something on it. And I also got this little, once again apologies for plastic, this sampler with these beautiful little flowers on it that comes with all the stuff you need. I've never done sashiko embroidery before. I've tried to do other kind of freehand embroidery and I'm moderately okay at it, so it just looks like something really fun and relaxing to do, and I'm always up for trying something new craft wise. So yes, I will keep you updated how my embroidery endeavors go. Have I finished the cross stitch that I started making my mum for Christmas? No, I haven't. Ooh, sorry, the colour just went weird. Just tap the screen. Yeah, so have I finished my mum's Christmas present? No, I haven't. But will I try something new as well? Definitely. The only other thing I have to talk about today is, so I think you'll remember my white horse sweater from a couple of episodes ago. The yarn I used for that was from Adagio Mills, which is an amazing mill and alpaca farm in New South Wales in Australia that make gorgeous, completely locally processed yarn that's just blended natural alpaca colors. They also, their mill is available for other businesses to spin their yarn, and they also make a bunch of other products. Because it's been a really crap drought the last couple of years, they're actually doing it really tough in their business and things are not looking good for the mill. So if you have been thinking about buying some yarn from them, I highly recommend you go and support them. I believe there might be like a GoFundMe or something. If there is, I'll link it down below. Even if you just share on Instagram or to your, however big your following is, to support them. They do amazing work creating local jobs, locally processed yarn in a really sustainable way, and it would be such a massive loss to the community if they had to close. So I've got I think 2 sweaters quantities of their yarn in my cart that I will be checking out today to do my bit, because I really love their yarn. Is so beautiful. If I could just knit with one yarn, it would probably be theirs. So please go ahead and have a look at their shop and see if there's anything that you like. Share it, talk to people about it, see if we can help out a wonderful family doing some really great work in the Australian fibre community. So that's about all I have to talk about today. In the comments below, tell me what you're working on. How are you? What's happening? Tell me. Just pop a comment down below. If you've enjoyed what you've seen today, feel free to like and subscribe so I'll pop up in your subscription feed when there's a new episode. I'm going to be a bit more regular, I think. I feel like I'm settling down a little bit. Things are a bit calmer, so I'm going to have some more consistent output to share with you. But other than that, I hope you enjoy the remainder of your weekend and have a really relaxed and productive week. Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to spend with me today, and I hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye.